Giorgia Meloni, who's the Prime Minister of Italy, is suing a guy for creating deepfake porn about her. Giorgia Meloni is a lady, and she's a nice-looking lady. And for nice-looking ladies in the public eye, there is a problem that is rapidly increasing, which is that computer tools make it easy to make fake porn of the women. This has been true for years, decades perhaps even. You know, with Photoshop, you can kind of make it look like Giorgia Meloni's naked. That's one thing. But now with the rise of artificial intelligence, you can make elaborate, very convincing pictures, elaborate, very convincing videos. This kind of a scandal just hit Taylor Swift. Remember a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago, when Taylor Swift was, through AI, seen to be doing all these horrific things in a football stadium. It was really, really gross. I didn't watch it, by the way. I hope you didn't watch it either. But she considered taking legal action, and Giorgia Meloni is taking legal action. She is suing the two men who did this for 100,000 euro. This is a defamation lawsuit, but there are other ways to go after them too. One, an unlicensed commercial use of their image. These videos have been viewed millions of times. They were shared on a U.S. porn site, and they've been viewed millions of times. That has generated a lot of revenue. This was done by a 40-year-old man and his 73-year-old father. Allegedly. They're under investigation now. It's unclear exactly who, or if maybe both of them did it, but it's so freaking creepy. And the only way this is going to stop is through lawfare in the short run. And then once you reimpose legal restrictions on this, then perhaps you can beef up the cultural restrictions on it as well. The taboo, the shame that would go along with being caught doing something. So could you imagine you're one of these guys? First of all, it's not even like it's a 16-year-old kid. 16-year-old kid who's not in control of his hormones and his lusts, goofing around on Photoshop. That's one thing, I guess. A 40-year-old man and his 73-year-old father, that is so disgusting. That is so deeply shameful. And she sues. All of these women should sue because we're in the early stages of this technology. So we're going to see what kind of legal restrictions we're going to put on them. In the early days of the internet, the conservatives and the liberals came together in America, tried to put restrictions on internet porn, and liberal judges overruled it. We missed our chance on the Communications Decency Act and the Child Online Protection Act. Had those two laws passed and imposed all sorts of restrictions on porn, a generation of kids who write into this show a lot would have been much, much better off. Now, finally, 20 years later, more than 20 years later, you're beginning to see some of those restrictions put back on with the age verification laws, for instance, that are being passed for porn sites in a lot of different states. Well, this is the next step of that. We're now in what the 90s were to the internet. That is today for artificial intelligence. And it's not going to stop with Giorgia Meloni. It's not going to stop with Taylor Swift. The creepiest part is it's going to be the girl in your math class. That is already happening. There are already cases about this. Prosecute it as hard as you can now under all the existing laws, then pass some new laws. Otherwise, this is going to spin out of control, and no woman in the world is going to be safe from what is a type of digital rape. Right now, go to luxblocks.com, promo code Michael25, and that way you can get your Lux Blocks. How cool are these? Easter's right around the corner. Instead of filling your kids' Easter baskets with candy, consider Lux Blocks. I really love these things. My kids love them too. I especially love them. So when we're sitting down, even in 3 of these colors, they've got a cool design for an American flag. So we're going there. My kids, they really enjoy them. The little boys, they're putting them together. They're playing. They're throwing some of the pieces at their dada's head. But then I'm there just trying. I was like, hold on, guys. We got to click it in. It's very fun. It's very cool. Innovative design. And also the story of their creators is great. Heather and Mike, they invested their savings into this venture and their vision for a better future. Lux Blocks are made right here in America. They wanted to create something that positively empowered kids to think, create, and dream big. Whether you're looking for a gift for a kid who just loves to build or a unique addition to your family game night, Lux Blocks is the perfect choice. Go to luxblocks.com. Use promo code Michael25 for 25% off. luxblocks.com. Use promo code Michael25 for 25% off. An appeals court has just stopped a Texas immigration law from going into effect because the Supreme Court allowed the Texas immigration law to go into effect because a lower court had stopped the immigration law from going into effect. So where are we? We're at this very strange place where the appeals court can overrule the Supreme Court. How does that work? I know a little bit more about the law than either AOC or Charlie Kelly, but not all that much more. See if you can follow this. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals blocked the Texas immigration law, saying that Texas can enforce its own borders. The Supreme Court lifted a hold blocking that law, arguing that it needed to be ruled on by the lower Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals first. Then, almost immediately afterward, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals again blocked the measure, which is called Senate Bill 4, from being put into effect, but without any explanation. So they didn't exactly rule on it, or they didn't provide any rationale for it. They just said, we're going to block it, and then the court will hear further arguments on Wednesday. Do you know what all of this is about? Even if you don't know anything about the law, the upshot of all of this is, we never get to object to mass migration. That's it, period. We don't. There will always be something preventing us from in any way restricting mass migration. We can elect Democrats, we can elect Republicans, we can pass laws, we can get court rulings. It doesn't matter. The mass migration will continue, period. This is true in America. This is true in most of Europe. There is, as far as I can tell, pretty much one country in Europe that has stopped mass migration, that is Hungary. And the liberal establishment in the West has done everything it can to make the leader of Hungary, who did that, Viktor Orban, a pariah, to totally ostracize him from the leadership of the West. They haven't been successful. He's too strong, and Hungary is just too solid a country to put up with it. But otherwise, you don't get to object to mass migration. Period. Why is that? Because the political order, the liberal order right now, depends upon mass migration. And that's that. We have dying populations and declining populations, even well below the point of replacement, other than in Hungary, which has started to turn the population around. Still a dying population, though. So if the economies aren't going to falter, you need to just import mass labor. And the liberals like the mass migration because it gives them an electoral advantage. The businesses like mass migration. It gives them a major labor pool to exploit. It's just beneficial to so many powers that if the pesky little people want to stop it, that's just not good enough. That's it. That's how you explain it. If you want that to change, as I certainly would like that to change, as most people throughout the West want that to change, it's the number one campaign issue according to many surveys, and it has been for a number of years. If you want that to change, you've got to get a little bit more creative and start putting pressure on the different interest groups that are pushing for mass migration. That was a good clip, huh? I think we all agree. Now, ring that bell, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.